What is going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to the first ever episode of Theme Park Society. I will not keep you long on this intro because, let's face it, we're new here. We are HersheyPark Obsessed, and we are excited to tell you what you need to know about Hershey Park in 2022. Whether you are a first-time visitor or a Hershey Park pro, this episode has something for you. We have a long list of episodes coming up to keep you Hershey Park happy throughout the entire operating season and beyond. So subscribe to us, rate and review our podcast, and leave a comment down below telling us what you think about Hershey Park and what some of your favorite rides are. Find us on Instagram by searching Theme Park Society and give us a follow. We hope you enjoy our first ever episode, and more importantly, we hope that it helps you get excited for the upcoming year in the park. So what do you say? Let's get started. So good news. Hershey Park opens for the season on Saturday, April 2nd of 2022, and yes, I will be there the entire weekend because the park is also open the following day of April 3rd. These 2 days will complete the first operational weekend of the year for Hershey Park. Speaking of the weekend, that's primarily what we're going to see for the rest of April as well as the majority of May, because the park is primarily going to be open on weekends only until Thursday, May 26th, when the park is slated to be open daily for the entirety of the next few months. In fact, the park will be open daily from May 26th all the way through September 5th. The Boardwalk, which is the large water park within Hershey Park, is not scheduled to be open until the very end of May. Operational days after September 5th will once again primarily revert back to weekends as the summer season comes to an end and we make our way into the next 2 seasons, which are Hershey Park in the Dark and then Christmas Candy Lane. Although the operational schedule has been fully released for the year, the exact daily hours are still to be determined. So I advise everyone to download the free Hershey Park app to your phone and stay up to date on the hours there. In addition to easily viewing park hours, the app is going to be a must in both your trip planning as well as an essential tool while you are in the park. So download it today and start looking at it. Side note, another great way to become a Hershey Park Pro is to subscribe to this show, whether you're watching it on YouTube, streaming it as a podcast, or sharing it with a friend. Then find us on Instagram by searching Theme Park Society and give us a follow. We are Hershey Obsessed and want to share all of our tips and tricks with you throughout the entire operating season and beyond. Now that we've talked about Hershey Park's schedule, let's quickly take a look at some of the other locations on property and talk about their operating schedule. We will talk more in depth about the experiences for each of these locations later in the episode, but for starters, let's just quickly chat about the operating schedule. First, let's look at Hershey's Chocolate World, which is located right outside of the park gates. This experience is open year-round and is a must-do with your Hershey Park visit. Additionally, Hershey Gardens, Zoo America, and the Hershey Story Museum are also open year-round. But keep an eye on the calendar for the exact hours, as closures could potentially happen for holidays, weather, and more. Typically, we see the garden and the museum have operating hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., but the zoo hours will fluctuate. So this is another reason why the app is definitely a must. So now that we know about the operating schedule for the year, let's talk about ticket prices and season passes, because this is a huge one. Before we really get into the ticket prices, let's go over what is actually included in your Hershey Park ticket. Your ticket gets you into the park, into Zoo America from within the park, and access to the Boardwalk, which is the water park inside of Hershey Park. But like I said earlier, the water park does not open until the end of May, and it closes after the summer season. Let me just say that at the time of this recording, tickets are pretty much as cheap as they are going to get for the entire year, and they can be purchased right now. Hershey Park has not stated how long this exact promotion is going to last, but it is very common for Hershey Park to have discounted ticket prices. Since the discounted prices vary, let's talk about regular pricing and which type of tickets you should get. Aside from the season passes, there are really only 2 types of day passes that you can get for the park. This is going to consist of either a 1-day ticket or a 2-day ticket. Regardless of current promotions, you are always going to spend less per day if you buy the 2-day ticket. Regular price for a one-day ticket is about $76.95 before tax, and regular price for a two-day ticket usually comes out to about $56 per day before tax. But obviously, you have to buy two tickets at that price. These 1- and 2-day tickets are valid the entire operating year, meaning you can buy a ticket today and use it during Christmas Candy Lane if you choose to do so. Children 2 and under are free. Groups of 20 plus people can get discounted day tickets. Again, the prices that I mentioned earlier are both regular prices, but you will often find them discounted through Hershey Park directly on their website. Buy your tickets ahead of time. You are going to save time and money by purchasing your tickets ahead of time and saving the ticket to your phone rather than buying tickets at the gate. The option is yours, but the quickest and easiest way is definitely presenting the electronic ticket on your phone. I recommend saving your electronic ticket as a photo on your phone as well as saving the email. Alright, so here's the biggest question we get about one-day versus two-day tickets. The biggest question is, can I do the entire park in one day? The answer to this question is going to depend on quite a few variables, such as crowd levels, weather, how fast you can get around the park, how big your party is, and so much more. But my normal answer is, even if you can do the park in just one day, do you really want to do it in just one day? Hershey Park is a big park and has tons of on-property experiences that are outside of the park. If your one and only goal is to get into the park, ride some coasters, and then leave, sure, you can happily do a one-day ticket. But the truth is, Hershey Park has so much to offer, and I say the more time, the better. If you have a timing or budgetary constraint and would like to optimize a single day in the park, then please stay up to date with us, as we have an episode in the works for you. It'll be all about optimizing one day in Hershey. But again, my typical answer for Hershey is that more than one day will be ideal. There is a lot on property and you do not want to miss anything. One important thing to remember is that all day passes include something that is called preview night at no extra cost. This will allow you to get into the park 2 hours before close on the night prior to your full park day. For example, let's say that you purchase a one-day ticket and plan to spend an entire Sunday in the park. You will be allowed to use that ticket to enter the park on Saturday night as long as it's within the last 2 operating hours of the day. This is great for knocking out a couple of the must-do coasters, which will allow your full park day to be a little more leisurely. Some of you may be wondering about season passes. I am and have been a season pass holder for a few years now. If you are interested in visiting multiple times throughout the year, and notice I said year, not just summer, then you should definitely consider a season pass. There are 3 different tiers, and there's definitely a science behind getting the most value out of being a pass holder. But we'll leave the science behind for another episode. The quick tip I have for you with the season passes at Hershey is that the cheapest season pass is not much more than you'll be spending on tickets if you go 3 or 4 times a year. You may be wondering about some of the other costs associated with a visit to Hershey Park. Parking is not included with your day passes, so expect to pay about $20 for parking, pending on the size of your car, and whether you've prepaid for parking or not is going to determine how quickly you get into the lot. If you are staying on property at one of the 3 official Hershey resorts, there is a shuttle that will essentially take you right up to the gates of Hershey Park. Season pass holders will get either discounted or free parking depending on the tier of the pass that they have. Another expense you need to think about is food, and food is a big one when it comes to Hershey, because it's not just your average theme park food. Hershey Park stands out when it comes to food, beverages, and snacks. Obviously, though, it truly is the sweetest place on earth. There are a few ways that you can potentially save money on dining at Hershey, and these would require purchasing dining plans for the day. One popular option is the all-day dining deal, which comes in at about $32.95 per person per day plus tax. This will allow you to eat at multiple locations across Hershey Park, and the voucher will include an entree and a side. This pass can be used once every 90 minutes and does not include beverages aside from water, which is free. If you wanted to include all-day refill beverages with your meal as well as while you're walking around the park, you'll want to look into the all-day drink deal, which comes in at $17.95 per person per day plus tax. With the all-day drink deal, you will also get a pretty neat souvenir cup. And you must wait at least 10 minutes between refills. You can get free refills all around the park with this plan, including the one beverage location in Zoo America. I know what you all want to ask. You want to ask if these plans are worth it or not, but that answer really depends on you. The all-day dining deal can get you a lot of food, but maybe you don't want to eat so much if you're going to be riding roller coasters all day. You might be someone who doesn't want to stand in long food lines multiple times a day, and trust me, some of these food lines get super long. So your decision on the all-day dining deal will ultimately come down to your appetite and willingness to wait in long food lines, especially on the weekend. Now, I do add the all-summer dining plan to my season pass, but I also am a frequent guest, so long lines don't cause me to miss much. These are all things you'll want to consider. As for the all-day drink deal, those lines move quick and are found frequently throughout the park. Alcoholic beverages are not included, of course, but there's nothing quite like a cold soda on demand in the middle of a theme park on a hot day. I know that I already said this, but it is important to note that these daily deals are truly only valid for one day. You pay per day, not per trip. You can also purchase a single-use meal deal voucher, which can be used for an entree, a side, and a beverage from one of 12 participating locations in the park. The meal deal voucher is currently listed at $14.95 before tax and will likely save you money in the park. You can buy more than one. Keep in mind that there are tons of places in the park to eat, and not every location accepts these deals. So check with the app before you purchase them. The app clearly shows what you can and cannot get with these deals. There are a few non-food related add-ons that you can purchase with your ticket. These include Fast Track and Fast Track Unlimited, where you can essentially skip lines on major attractions. However, the prices on these will vary depending on when you visit. Additionally, you can purchase game and parking vouchers as well as Family Photo Pass for digital photos from around the park, like photos with characters, for instance. Obviously, you are free to take these photos with your camera and cell phones, but the Photo Pass here has photographers on location, similar to the way that Photo Pass is done in Walt Disney World. As stated earlier, a visit to Zoo America is included with all park tickets. You must enter the zoo through the park. You cannot use the street entrance of the zoo with your park ticket. That entrance will require day guests to have a separate additional zoo ticket, so just enter from the park if you are a day guest. Let's talk a little bit about where to stay, because there are tons of places to stay in and around Hershey. With Hershey being a huge tourist destination, there is no shortage of places to stay. If you want to stay immersed in Hershey for your entire trip, you might want to consider booking a stay at one of Hershey's on-property resorts. You will receive a lot of the same amenities you'd expect if you've ever stayed on property at a Walt Disney World resort. Some things to expect would be immersive theming throughout your entire stay, free transportation to and from the park, extra park time, as well as free admission to Hershey Gardens, as well as the Hershey Story Museum. You'll also get access to wonderful grounds and activities at the resorts, great food options, and wonderful guest services. The three options you have for staying on property are the HersheyPark Camping Resort, the Hotel Hershey, and the Hershey Lodge. The HersheyPark Camping Resort will be the cheapest option, and you will have the choice to camp, rent a cabin, or bring your own trailer or RV. Here, you will be able to camp, cook out, enjoy time in the indoor game room, or maybe on the basketball court or the volleyball courts. Either way, there is a bunch to do here. If you are more interested in a resort-style stay, check out either the Hotel Hershey or the Hershey Lodge. The Hershey Lodge is a great place for families, and there is something for everyone. There is a large indoor water park called Hershey's Waterworks, a zero-entry pool, great dining options, and so much more. If you are interested in a nice, elegant stay, you might want to check out the Hotel Hershey, which is right across the street from the park. It has beautiful views, beautiful rooms, a high-end spa where you can receive chocolate treatments, and so much more. You can also walk to the Hershey Gardens from this resort. The Hotel Hershey and the views are outstanding. There is something for everyone at the Hershey Resorts, so definitely check them out. You can get special pricing on packages if you stay on property, so definitely take a look. If you are interested in staying off property, there are tons of hotels nearby, especially when you consider that the capital city of Harrisburg is a neighbor to Hershey. I've stayed all over, in and out of Hershey, and have never had a problem getting to the parks early. So just look around and see what works for you and your family. Let's talk about what we can expect inside the park this year. There is something for everyone here, and there is no shortage of walkthroughs of the park on YouTube. One thing that makes Hershey such a phenomenal family park is the fact that there is no real dedicated child's area in the park. You might be thinking that a children's section is essential to a family theme park, but hear me out. Hershey has tons of rides for children, but they are scattered throughout the park, which makes for the ultimate family park. If you are an absolute thrill seeker and you have a child, you will not be stuck in a children's section all day. You're both going to need to walk the park together to get to all of the rides, big and small. The layout of the park could allow for one big ride, then one small ride, then another big ride a few steps away, then another small ride. Am I making sense here? Basically, every corner of the park can be enjoyed by all riders. It looks like we are going to have the Kissing Tower up and running throughout the entire year. It was closed for the majority of last year, so that is definitely something to look forward. We still don't know exactly what is happening with the Sidewinder retheme, but the new colors look promising. Hershey is still being a little quiet on that one, but either way, I am very excited to ride. If you are wondering whether or not you should do Hershey's Chocolate World or not, or maybe you don't even know what that is, then listen up. Everyone should visit Hershey's Chocolate World. Hershey's Chocolate World is not only a Hershey superstore right next to the HersheyPark gates, but it's also an entire Hershey experience. It is free to enter, and there is a free dark ride inside. No height requirement. It is essentially an omni-mover, meaning the line is constantly moving, but not only that, the queue in itself is super entertaining. There are a few cool paid extras inside Hershey's Chocolate World, but I would suggest you reserve these for days that you are not going to be inside the park. Maybe the day before or after your full park day. If you do choose to do a paid extra inside Hershey's Chocolate World on a full park day, I suggest that you book it for the early morning or the late evening. That way you do not have to leave and re-enter the park. My perfect park day typically starts with a free ride on the Hershey's Chocolate Tour ride within Hershey's Chocolate World. Then, sometimes I'll grab something in the food court for an early lunch before entering the park. Also, do not park in the Hershey's Chocolate World parking lot if you are going to be entering Hershey Park right after. Just park in the actual Hershey Park parking lot if you are going into the park. Hershey's Chocolate World is literally right next to the Hershey Park gates, and you cannot leave your car in the Hershey's Chocolate World parking lot all day. You will lose time if you have to park in the Chocolate World parking lot and then move your car prior to entering Hershey Park. Only use the Chocolate World parking lot if you are visiting Chocolate World and not the park. We touched on the zoo a little bit earlier, but let's bring it back up really quick. The zoo is optional and can be done in as little or as much time as you would like. It's not very large, but you can definitely spend some decent time in there. If you want to quickly pop in and walk around for 15 minutes, you can. It's included in your park ticket. If you want to go in and spend an hour or so looking around and learning about the animals, you can do that as well. It is up to you. The grounds are pretty neat there, and you get a pretty nice view of the old silos from the old chocolate factory. Just ask any worker about it and they'll share some pretty cool facts about it. If you aren't sure whether or not you want to do the zoo, just keep an eye out for it when you ride the monorail in the park. The monorail quickly jumps outside of the park and takes you on a quick trip over the zoo. You can look down, get a feel for the size, and see if it's something that you want to walk around or not. There are a few indoor exhibits as well. There is so much to do in Hershey that is not inside the park, so you may enjoy booking a weekend trip and enjoying tons of on-property activities outside of the park, as well as a full day inside of the park. There are museums, a great downtown section, tours, gardens, shops, great food, and so much more. But today I wanted to primarily talk about the park. Lastly, I want to quickly list off a bunch of tips and tricks for your next trip. So listen up and let us know if you use any of these tips. The preview plan is a must. The park tends to get less busy in the evening as pass holders leave, and the last 2 hours of the night can be some of the best times to ride the major coasters. Consider a season pass, even if you only plan on visiting 3 times this year. The season pass extends into all other seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. There are also many other benefits to having a pass, such as discounts, free zoo admission year-round, and so much more. You can typically access Hershey Park parking lot 2 hours before open. The lot fills up quick, especially on the weekends. There have been times where I rolled in around noon and had to park near the Giant Center, which can be a 15-plus minute walk to the gates at times. Speaking of the Giant Center, there are a handful of entertainment and athletic venues within Hershey Park property, so be mindful of days where events are taking place. If there is a concert at night, you can expect the park to be extremely busy during the day, but then it clears up a bit at night as people go to the event. This might be a good strategy where you use your preview night on the night of an event and then visit the park the next day. Speaking of preview plan, if they charge you for parking that night, save the parking ticket and present it the next morning when you arrive for your full park day. They typically accept that. I know that many people park in the Chocolate World parking lot for preview night since the hours of parking are capped, but I don't do that. I like to leave the Chocolate World spaces free for the guests who are not going to the park. Remember where you parked. The lot is huge, but it is marked by streetlights. Take a photo before you walk away from your car. You can also click on your location in Google Maps when you get out of your car and hit the Save Parking option. Parking far away from the gates may be worth it. Hear me out on this one. The traffic in the parking lot can be pretty heavy once the park closes. If you're parked farther away, you'll have a longer walk at the end of the night, but the traffic will be clearing up while you walk. Now, this is not always optional because they will typically direct you to a parking spot if you arrive early, but it just depends on the time you arrive. The Hershey Park app is a must inside the park. Not only will it offer maps, information, mobile order, and wait times, but it will also allow you to set reminders for when wait times drop below a certain time on a certain ride. The app also gives you maps inside the zoo. Bring a disposable poncho. Don't let the rain ruin your trip. Many of the rides will operate in the rain, but safety is the main concern. Here's something that a lot of people don't know, and I am going to read it directly from Hershey Park's website. So here's the quote. In the event the inclement weather conditions cause the majority of major rides and attractions to close for a continuous 60 minutes on a public operating day, a return visit voucher may be issued for a return visit for the current operating season. Please present ticket stub or receipt of purchase to any guest services location or hospitality services to receive your return visit voucher. End quote. And just keep in mind, this is not for private events, this is just for public operating days, of course. Here is a dining tip that also includes the app, but you can actually filter dining locations by dietary options. This includes gluten-free options, nut-free options, and dairy-free options. The app also shares ingredients for selections from the dining locations, which is super helpful. I think that's going to be about it for this episode, but to those of you who have made it this far, I truly appreciate you listening. This was the first official episode of Theme Park Society, and I really hope it helped. If you are a Hershey Park pro and you just wanted to listen to a show where someone was talking about this wonderful park, then I hope this did it for you. We have a long list of topics to bring you all throughout the rest of the season and beyond. So please subscribe, give us a like, a rating, a review, a comment, a share, or anything else that will help our show grow. Find us on Instagram by searching for Theme Park Society and give us a follow. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to talking to you soon.